episode of Sandusky, Ohio Parkbench. I'm your host, Steve Ham with Remax Quality Realty. I'm also a realtor there as well. We'll get into how you can become part of the Parkbench interview series, but today my special guest is Anthony Poole from Serving Our Seniors in Sandusky here. So Anthony, thanks for coming by and being a part of this interview. Quick shout out to Sue Dougherty, who is the actual overall in charge of the program. I did reach out to her initially, but she recommended that Anthony come here and do the interview instead because he's basically her right-hand man. So I said, no problem, okay. So Anthony's here with us today. So Anthony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Steve, for giving me the opportunity of coming to express what it is that I do, who I am, and then the agency and the population that we serve. So first, I would like to say, as you introduced, my name is Anthony Poole. I am a lifelong resident of Sandusky, Ohio. Only time I was not kind of almost like a pseudo resident would be with the main campus of Bowling Green State University.
Okay.
Because that's where I did go there, and
okay.
I was able to obtain my degree in sociology.
Oh, okay.
So that's what really prompted my interest in people. So it started there between sociology, psychology. That's what started prompting me to want to work with people.
Okay.
First with sociology just being understanding how people are affected by their environment. And then of course psychology, just how people put things together inside their own head.
Yeah.
So that's what really started. And for me, it was just trying to find the avenue where I wanted to move into. Wasn't really sure if I wanted to work with the older population or work with the younger population. So first I did start off working, or at least I thought I was gonna work with the younger population.
Okay.
And I quickly found that that wasn't my niche. And it was with an agency where you have to be forced into kind of an intervention. So that's not my personality.
Okay.
I'm not a personality that wants to be forced into a situation. I want to be put into a situation where someone requests the assistance. So that's where, when I applied in 2004 with Serving Our Seniors, that's where I quickly learned that this is for me. Okay. Because it is where you get the calls that come in, you get the referrals, you get the requests, where people are genuinely looking for some help.
Gotcha.
So a little bit about our agency. Our agency was founded between 1996 1997. Okay. And the way it came about is, at the time, Erie County Judge Jane Luco, what she was recognizing was she recognized that there were too many people that would actually come into her court, and there was guardianships being put on those people. And the difficulty was that was the only alternative, was guardianship. But in reality, if that person had a little bit more support, they might not have to go under guardianship. So that's where checking to see what resources we really had, and when we didn't find anything, we looked to see if there could be an agency created to where we could find supports for those individuals. Okay. So that's where 96, 97, Judge Jane Luco, along with two other senior citizen activists, which name was Marion Cook and Ray Cook, they all three of them band together, and then they were able to form this nonprofit agency. Okay. And again, with the purpose of what supports can we put in place to help a person still maintain their independence. And we use that term functional independence because we want to make sure that they're really functioning inside a society in a independent nature. Sure. So that's what we're looking into. Yeah. And even as our website, we have a story on our website. And the story on our website kind of shows what we do as an agency to provide those supports. So the services that we actually provide, it could mainly is advocacy. Advocacy, okay. Advocacy is the main service that we provide, and what we have is we have the calls that come in, and they come in from anyone. They come in from those that just don't know about a certain service, or they don't know a certain direction to take, and they just call and ask us if we know of anything just from our interaction with the different social services in the area. So we'll get the phone calls just looking for a little direction. We'll get phone calls from those that what we're learning may have slightly lost their voice in society.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is we're becoming more aware that as people age, their voice becomes less clear in terms of who will really listen to you.
Okay.
So you get 65, above 65, people, agencies tend not to listen to you like they would have 30 years
Right.
prior.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they will call us because they don't know what to say, or sometimes they will call us just to have that agency backing to say, please advocate for me.
Okay.
And that's why we get a lot of phone calls looking for advocacy services.
Okay.
So we'll get those calls looking for direction, and then we'll get calls that are actually looking for services. So there are certain services that we are able to provide
Mm-hmm.
due to the funding that we do receive.
Mm-hmm.
The funding that we receive come primarily through the senior services tax levy,
Okay.
and then that's how we are able to provide
Mhm.
most of our services. Now, we do get some private donations,
Mhm.
we do get some grants, but the primary source of funding would be from that Erie County Senior Services tax levy.
Okay.
And that's where it also comes with certain restrictions. Because
Sure.
we're only able to serve those that are 60 years and better,
Okay.
and then also live in Erie County.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we do get those calls where we get clients or callers stating that, well, I'm disabled,
Mm-hmm.
will that qualify? And
Yeah.
we have to unfortunately tell them no, just
Oh.
because of the way that we're funded.
So no disability in there at all. Then.
Not just disability alone, you would have to still reach that 60 or better.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, that's just because of how the tax levy, because of the senior service tax levy.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Okay. So what else services do you guys provide then?
The way I like to explain it is the services we provide, I try to look at it as how can we help you get through your day?
Okay.
So if you wake up in the morning, you need assistance with personal care, possibly bathing, dressing, grooming.
Yeah.
Can we provide a service to come into the home and assist with that?
Mm-hmm.
And we contract with different agencies.
Okay.
So there may be a home health agency, and I think at this time we may be contracted with maybe 3 or 4 different home health agencies.
Okay.
But we would contract with them to be able to come into the home and provide that type of service.
Mm-hmm.
Then we look at, are you able to prepare your meals?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then we look into the local Meals on Wheels
Mhm.
program. We partner with the Erie County Senior Center to provide meals because they primarily provide the meals for the city of Sandusky
Mm-hmm.
itself.
Yeah.
But Perkins or any other city inside of Erie County, we provide the funding to extend those meals to go out to the rest of the county.
Okay.
We do have one other meal program that we contract with, and it's called Simply Easy Meals.
Mm-hmm.
And with that program, it's more of a frozen meal, so weekly
Okay.
frozen meal based, to where once a week you'll get individually packaged meals.
Oh.
So the person would have to have the wherewithal to be able to
Right.
package it together to have that one meal
Yeah.
for the day.
Yeah.
And if we can identify that a person is able to do that,
Yeah.
we'll offer that program, but
Okay.
we'll also have sensitivity to those that may not be
Right.
able to
Yeah.
put together a meal in that fashion.
Okay.
And we'll lean more towards the Erie County Senior Center because they will provide a hot meal daily
Okay. Gotcha.
versus the
Okay.
frozen meal.
Okay. Huh. I did hear her talk about there was the Meals on Wheels thing was a big thing, but then also scams against seniors as well. How do you guys help with that, or can you, is there any efforts you put in toward helping against that, or to make sure it doesn't happen?
Yes. First, we like to be an agency that can get the information.
Mm-hmm.
So if the difficulty when it comes to scams is it's grossly underreported.
Oh, okay.
That's the difficulty.
Because of embarrassment, you think, essentially?
I think that's primarily
Yeah.
the reason. One, I think the scam artists are so keen and so cunning
Yeah.
that you don't feel like it's a scam.
Yeah.
Or if you do feel like it is a scam, yeah, you don't want to let anybody know
Right.
because you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm
Right.
so stupid. How can I fall for that?
Yeah.
And not really realizing that it can happen to anybody.
Sure.
You don't have to be a senior. You
Yeah.
don't have to be in a certain walk of life. It could happen to anyone.
Right.
Because again, you're dealing with a con artist.
Right.
So a con artist is going to be able
Yeah.
to come across as very likable,
Mm-hmm.
come across as very knowledgeable,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely know the ropes as to how to isolate you.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can isolate you from talking to anyone, because there's been a couple that I've been involved in to where if you talk to the client will let you know that, well, whoever I'm talking with on the phone, they're telling me not to tell anybody that
Right.
I've received this,
Yeah.
and if I tell anybody, then I won't be able to receive it, or somebody will try to talk me out of it.
Mhm.
It's because they're jealous.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely know how to
Mm-hmm.
to work that system.
Yeah.
So, but what we've been able to do is we partner with, originally we partnered with the Erie County Sheriff's Office, we partnered with the Erie County Prosecutor's Office,
Mm-hmm.
and we do have a person in the role of it's a financial elder abuse investigator,
Okay.
and his name is Dan McLaughlin, and we work with him in combination to try to combat the scams and try to combat the financial exploitation.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult, and I kind of equate it to, you have somebody calling, especially if you don't have much family involvement, but you have somebody calling you, and you have someone calling you daily, they're calling you hourly, they're calling you every 15 minutes.
Oh.
But they're calling acting as if they care.
Gotcha.
So that's where I can see where a person can get roped in.
Yeah.
Because if they then take that information and say, well, your own family don't even call you as much as I call you, so
Right.
that must mean something.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
if they care for you as much as I would, then they would call you as much as I do.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is a big roadblock to trying to help someone, because I was in the role of what we call a senior advocate, to where I would go out in the field, and I did that portion of the work for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
But it was just so difficult, because even if I were to make the home visits, call on the phone, and I am genuinely interested in the success of the person that I'm working with.
Sure.
But even with that, if you have someone calling you every 15 minutes, how can I compete with that?
Yeah, no, I get that. I guess to me, the way I see that is if someone's calling that often, then that's a little overboard as far as I'm concerned. I can see, a call once a day, how you doing, but every 15 minutes, to me, that would be more of a nuisance at that point, I would think, but that's just me.
And it would be, except for if you're one that maybe doesn't get any interaction at all.
Yeah, most people do desire that social interaction. So if someone's getting to you that often, and I guess you're a little bit older and you're thinking, oh wow, this person must really, really care for me and stuff, and they build that rapport with you after a while, and then they still start, slowly trying to get what they want. I mean, they are skilled at what they do, obviously, because there's scams you hear about every day on the news, unfortunately, and you look at it like, how in the world can someone fall for that? But the right, situation and the right person that's doing it, I mean, pretty much make almost anyone, believe it.
Yeah, I think the other piece of the puzzle too is, the studies show as we age, then even physiologically you deteriorate.
Yeah.
So that's going to also happen even in your brain.
Right.
So you do get to a point where you become more susceptible to scams,
Right.
because you may get to a point where you're not able to tell who's being truthful and who's not.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big piece of the puzzle as well.
Absolutely, sure. Huh. Wow. Okay, so we talked about the food, we talked about the scams. What about abuse and stuff, either mental or physical abuse? You guys deal with that too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we definitely get those phone calls.
Okay.
We get those, and I think the reason we get the phone calls a lot, one, that we're a senior social service.
Yeah.
But also, I believe we are an agency that is really non-threatening. I
Okay.
think people feel comfortable
Sure.
calling our agency
Yeah.
just to get direction,
Yeah.
just to figure out the best course of action.
Sure.
So there's a lot of times we will get a lot of information that either we will forward on to our local Job and Family Services and the Department of the Adult Protective Services,
Mm-hmm.
or we would try to direct that person to call on their own. So if we get the phone call, we would try to get as much information as we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's going to be family, friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be other acquaintances. Going back to financial, sometimes it is banks. So it just depends on who calls us. And what we will try to direct that person to do is, let's call, either if you want to call on your own, that's fine, but let's call and make a report.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to make that report, whether it's to the adult protective, whether it's to law enforcement, whoever's the appropriate party, we want to make that phone call. But then also, what that does for our office is it puts us on an alert to where there's a possibility that maybe we can go out and try to assess the situation.
Okay.
And if we're able to go out, we can get our eyes on the situation, see firsthand, what is the main issue.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it really is an issue of abuse. Sometimes it's not really an issue of abuse. Sometimes it's just the family dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get a call maybe from one family member saying that, hey, I think one family member is abusing, but really it's just that those two don't get along.
Yeah.
So,
right. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of that going on.
yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah.
It can be tough. But we like to be that agency where people feel comfortable at least contacting, and we want to be involved and be able to provide whatever supports we can.
Sure. No, it's definitely important for the seniors. I mean, I didn't even know that your organization existed until Sue came in and talked about it, and it was a very, for probably about a good 45 minutes, she was very passionate about what you guys do, and in helping the seniors. And I mean, obviously, seniors need as much support as they can get. I mean, they deserve it. I mean, as long as they've lived, and everything they've done. So yeah, I commend that. But
and I've learned that going back to when I used to go out on the field and go to homes,
mm-hmm.
because what we term as a home assessment,
Mm-hmm.
If we would get a phone call and have either an agency, sometimes it's a discharge from a hospital or rehab facility. It could be friends, family, or it could be the client themselves who just call and say, hey, can you come out and explain what you do? And I would go out. I think primarily those assessments were done when people were seeking the Meals on Wheels program,
mm-hmm.
or what we call rural home delivered meals for
mm-hmm.
our purposes. I would go out and I would explain that particular program, but then I would explain all the different programs and services that we have to
mm-hmm.
offer, and that would be the comment. The comment would be like, wow, it's like,
yeah,
all this time I thought all you did was meals.
right,
I
yeah,
had no clue that you offered all these other
okay.
services.
Yeah.
And if I could get back to
Sure.
also the services that we provide, because I know I kind of stopped at the meals, but then we do look at also, can you get in and out of the house? Because that's going to be a difficulty for some at some point.
Yeah.
Just being able to navigate if you have stairs. So we
Sure.
do have a ramp program that we're able to provide a ramp. The actual cost of the ramp pieces and parts themselves, there's no cost to the client.
Okay.
What we would forward to the client would be the installation fee, because we would work with an installer and they would install the ramp,
Okay.
and that fee would be forwarded on to the client if they can afford it. Because what we do look at with any of our programs, we look at what is it that client can afford.
Okay.
And what we're interested in is the portion that you cannot afford.
Yeah.
We want to see if we can kind of bridge that gap.
Sure. Yeah.
So we do have opportunities to what we call cost sharing. So we would have to do what we call a financial assessment, but we just have to look over the finances. We don't have a cost cap per se,
Okay.
because we are sensitive to, yes, we understand this is what you gross.
Yeah.
But really, what do you have to live on once you take all your expenses into
Mhm.
account?
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line of what we're interested in.
Okay.
Is you let us know what you can afford. You let us know after all your expenses are taken into account what you have left.
Yeah.
We will see of that amount what can you afford and not cause you any kind of financial hardship.
Sure.
So
yeah.
and that's where I think that's really what I like about what we do in terms of the affordability, because most clients that we interact with, I think they're used to, well, I'm not gonna qualify for anything.
Right.
Just because they know that they might go to other social agencies and there's this cost limit.
Yeah.
But when they come into our door, we let them know that's not necessarily true. Let's take a look at the situation first, because you may be surprised.
Right. That's good. Yeah. I mean, people need to know that there's a chance they come in there and there's they would be able to get some help that they normally would not otherwise be able to get.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Sue mentioning a story too, where with the rural food delivery, where there was a lady that was out, far into the woods, not woods, but she was definitely kind of isolated, and it was in wintertime, and somehow she got herself locked out of the house. And so there happened to be the food delivery that day, and the guy went out there, and I don't know how long she'd been out, but I mean, he was able to figure out that, she couldn't get back in the house, so he got her back in there, and warmed up and taken care of and stuff like that. So in a way, your organization pretty much saved her life because of that visit, So things like that can happen, which, it's like, wow, I heard that, I was like, that's just crazy, but things like that can happen. I mean, I could get myself locked out of the house for some reason, but obviously I could do better in cold weather longer than, someone way older than me. So, but it's nice that that's there for people.
Yeah, and with that program, it also gives an opportunity for that daily interaction, especially if you're on the hot route.
Okay.
Because now you have a volunteer coming in every single day.
Oh.
And then that can be pretty much like a check system on that person. So if you're coming in every day, you might have, that volunteer may have an opportunity to see if there's an issue going on.
Yeah.
And such as the locked door or something else could be going on. They may come to the house and they find that something just is not right.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to call somebody.
Right. Yeah.
So that does give an opportunity even for that, just having that daily check-in from the volunteer.
What's your screening process for volunteers, or do you guys have one to make sure that you're getting quality people that volunteer for you guys?
For the Meals on Wheels program, that would be deferred to the Erie County Senior Center, because they're the ones that manage that program.
Okay.
We just provide the funding for it.
Okay.
So they go through all of the screening process for that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now we do have volunteers at our building.
Yeah.
Because one of the other programs that I can get into is transportation. We do have two different forms of transportation.
Okay.
We have what we call an in-town source of transportation. In town, we consider all of Erie County.
Okay.
That's what we consider in town. And right now, we have an agreement with the local Sandusky transit system. So they will transport our clients at a reduced rate. We have an agreement with them. Currently, that reduced rate is even more reduced than what the general population would get. Like currently, for example, I think the general rate is $5 each way.
Oh.
If there is a senior citizen, which my understanding is 65 or better, they could, and it might even be disabled, but I'm not totally sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be half rate at $2.50.
Oh, wow.
But if they're under our program, then we can get a rate of $1.50 each way.
Okay.
So we work with the transit system to be able to provide that service for clients. But then we also have an out-of-town medical transportation service. And that's where we get into the volunteers that we have.
Okay.
And with that service, as long as the appointment is a medical appointment, as long as that appointment is outside the limits of Erie County, we can use that transportation as a resource. With that, the volunteers, we have currently 4 vehicles at our office. We have 2 sedans, we have 2 SUVs, and the volunteer will use those vehicles. They will go to the client's home, pick the client up, take the client to their appointment. They'll wait with the client, wait there until the client's appointment is over, bring them back home. And the biggest piece of that is a no-cost service.
Really?
For the client.
Oh, that's very nice.
The only thing that we ask is if there's turnpike fee, parking fee at
Yeah.
the facility, we ask for that client to cover that, but
Okay.
volunteer-wise,
Yeah.
we don't ask for tips to the volunteers.
Okay.
We don't ask the client to pay for gas. We do accept a donation
Right.
if they're able to give, but it's not required.
Okay. How much lead time do you guys need for that to be scheduled or to help someone out? I mean, can someone call you like the day before saying, hey, I got an appointment that just happened, I need it for tomorrow? I mean, is that possible for that, or?
Typically, we ask for a 5-day advance notice.
Okay.
That's typically what we ask for, just mainly because we are working with volunteers.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to contact the volunteers
Okay.
and see if we can secure
Yeah.
someone that has the availability.
How far out do you guys drive then, outside of Erie County for long distance?
So far, we pretty much cover all of Ohio.
All of Ohio,
Yep.
really?
I think the furthest we've gone, at least to my knowledge, would be Columbus.
Okay.
So we have gone to Columbus. We would consider, pretty much any request
Okay.
in Ohio or, very close surrounding area. It just depends on the request,
Okay.
because we like to be very lenient on what makes sense.
Yeah.
So if it is something that can help an Erie County resident, we
Yeah.
definitely always want to consider it.
Okay. Wow.
But typically, it's going to be
Yeah.
your Cleveland, your Toledo.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Anything in the Michigan at all, or no?
I was always trying to think back. I was trying to rack my brain to see if there's been. I definitely know if it has happened, it may have been once, but I
Yeah.
can't say that
Okay.
as a confirm.
I mean, just it's so close to the state line up there that, there's always a chance. When I was still working, EMS flight, that, there's several hospitals just across the Michigan line that, we can go into and take patients to or out of, I should say. So.
And I would always, if there was such an appointment, I can probably confidently say that we would at least consider it. So
Sure.
if it is something situation where the person can't get the service that they need here or in the surrounding area,
Yeah.
that was the only alternative,
Yeah.
I'm sure that we would consider it.
Now, you mentioned also before I started recording this something about the whole Medicare enrollment period. Now, you said you guys, it's almost near the end of that, but you begin a lot of calls about that. Can you talk about that or explain that?
Yep, that began October 15th.
Okay.
And the period runs annually October 15th to December 7th.
Okay.
And with that, we'll get the phone calls for someone to review their prescription drug plans.
Okay.
They will ask us to review what they call an Advantage plan.
Okay.
And with the Advantage plan, that's usually where you have a private company that is managing that person's Medicare at that point, because you can have original Medicare possibly with a supplement to your Medicare as insurance, or you can go to an Advantage plan, which would be kind of your all-in-one. And it all just depends. And right now there's a lot of commercials.
I tell you, that's no lie. I see a ton of commercials, especially because usually I go to the gym in the mornings. And depending which station you're on, I mean, you start seeing them, and I'll be honest. I mean, so my mom still lives in Florida, in St. Peter, and she's living by herself, and she's on Medicaid, but she'll try to ask me questions about what I think about the Advantage plans, this and that. And I'll be honest with you, even when I see the commercials, I'm probably as confused as anyone else is, just because it's there's so much involved there that I don't know enough about Medicare, Medicaid. I mean, other than kind of what they cover in a way, sort of. But I'm just like, she's like, should I go for this or not? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm not the person to talk to about that. So, you sound like someone who'd probably be knowledgeable about all that and the intricacies to a point.
Me personally, very little.
Okay.
And that's interesting because I've been around it for so long, but there's so many details when it comes to Medicare that we have a whole team at our office that has been OSHIP certified, and that's with the Ohio Senior Health Information. There's another I in there, but a program.
Okay.
Insurance program.
Okay.
And with that certification, they are able to actually help a person navigate.
Oh, okay.
And it's really case by case. And this is where I would probably have an issue with the commercials.
Okay.
only because the commercials make it seem as if it's just all blanket. It's
Yeah.
any one of the programs will fit anyone, but
Yeah.
in reality, every case is different.
Sure.
So you definitely have to. We recommend you come in.
Mm-hmm.
You meet with one of our Medicare team.
Mm-hmm.
They will look at your particular situation and
Mm-hmm.
they will actually find out which plan is best for you.
Okay.
And we recommend that you come in annually because
Mm-hmm.
every year there's an opportunity for change.
Right.
And what I usually would tell those that I work with is, even if you feel comfortable with the plan that you have, you're happy with the plan you had, you feel like the plan really served you well, you don't want any surprises come January. You don't want to learn that a medication that you've been taking that you really need to take is no longer covered.
Right.
Or that your premiums go up.
Yeah.
So you don't want to find that out come January. You want to be able to explore that situation prior to, and then make that informed decision at that time.
That was one of the things that was very new to me, because when you're in the military, you go, you're sick, you go to the hospital, and your medical is covered basically, so you really don't have to worry about choosing a plan every year, And then I retired, got out, and then I'm working for a civilian company, and all of a sudden now it's like, you need to pick and choose which plan works best for you, how much you want to pay for whatever, and between the optical or the dental or whatever. I'm just like, holy cow! Now I really have to think about this, and I mean, fortunately, it wasn't all that difficult at the time, and the co-pays were fairly cheap, which I was thankful for. But I could imagine, with me not having, military TRICARE for my medical, having to go to and figure out which medical program is best for me, and they're expensive when I hear about them. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, definitely recommend going and get that checked out. But it's cool that you guys had to offer that service to help the seniors out, because my mom could probably use that right now, and I feel bad now that I want to tell her, but at the same time, like, call the number on your card and have them go over everything with you and have them explain it to you, because that's what they're there for, as far as I'm concerned. The problem with her is that, at her age now, she just turned 80. If someone's talking too fast, she can't keep up. If they're talking too loud, which some people do, then it hurts her ears. She has a lot of issues going on, which I feel sorry for, and I do my best to help her. But, being able to sit down with someone who can, calmly, discuss everything and make sure that they understand what's going on, for their benefit is great, amazing. So,
and I think the benefit for our Medicare team is they don't have any stake in the game.
Right.
So they're going to be able to give you unbiased information.
That's the best thing.
It's going to be the best for your situation. So they're not going to care which plan you actually go with. All they want to do is put all the cards on the table and say, well, hey, these are your options. So I think that's the beauty in at least sitting down with one of our coworkers at the office to just go over the plans. And like we like to stress, even if you're happy and you're comfortable with the plan, still it does not hurt to come in, let's see what we got going on for next season, and then make your decision at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, is there organization serving our seniors pretty much one of these, like in every state basically, just called something else, or do you know anything about that? Or
I would say probably the closest would be maybe a county's area office on aging would probably be the closest. And the reason I say that is because I do know that with us, again, we were formed and our funding is through that senior services tax levy. So it all depends on how each county has structured themselves.
There's probably got to be a department of something like that in hopefully every county or every state's got that, to help seniors out. So, and
even with our county, there's still an area office on aging, because there's an area office on aging that serves Erie County, and we do have a good communication with them. We have good interaction with them, but it's just that right here locally we do have someone as well as to try to figure out, what is it that the seniors in our community, what can they benefit from? And that's where, I'm very happy when it comes to the director, Sue Doherty, because we're always analyzing, what is it that is going on in the community
Yeah.
that seniors could benefit from.
Sure.
Now, there's times where, you know, we'll try to think of something and we quickly learn, at least currently, is not what the seniors are looking for. But
Okay.
we try to look down the line to
Yeah.
say, okay, well, what is it that we can provide that we feel might be helpful?
Yeah.
But of course, we learn that maybe we're ahead of our time. Maybe it's not the right time.
Yeah.
We're always actively just trying to figure out, well, what are the real gaps in society? And if we can target those, then we try to put together a program that can fit that.
I got a feeling that maybe technology would be a hot topic with that. I mean, you feel like a lot of seniors are not really wanting to or can keep up with, you know, like smartphones and stuff like that, or?
Yes, and actually that is a program that we tried, I want to say maybe 2 years now. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. But we had a coworker that their job title was digital divide.
Okay.
So we tried to identify that there are these gaps with the seniors when it comes to computers, tablets,
right.
even nowadays smart TVs.
Yeah. I have a problem with my TV at the time. So
yeah, so we did try to identify, and we had some feedback, but it wasn't what we hoped.
Okay.
So we did have to unfortunately kind of dissolve that position. But with the ideal that come down the line, we're sure that that's going to come back up again, because that's just the way society is moving towards. Just
right.
Looks like it's going to at some point be all technology based.
Yeah. Maybe just a different approach to it with them might be better. Yeah, I mean, I know with my mom, she's very old school, you know, it's all about landlines. I tried to get her to learn how to use a smartphone, and she just was like, no, I don't want that. Never been on the internet, uses me for that instead. I'm like, okay, it's fine, you know, whatever. But yeah, so I can see how that would be difficult, but yeah, I mean, you do what you can, you know, and obviously you don't want to push into something they're not comfortable with. So now your position as second in charge, I guess. So what are you responsible for in the organization, basically?
You know, and the actual title would be Quality Assurance Manager.
Yeah, okay.
And what I'm charged with is just making sure that all the questions, problems, concerns that come in, that we're addressing those with that sense of quality, and also we're addressing them in a timely manner.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that when we get a call in, that we are actively working on that call. So we're not getting a phone call in and not addressing it until 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So we are trying to figure out what we can do to address the call, and then also try to get you an answer that you're satisfied with.
How's the feedback been on that? Do people appreciate the quick response times or the follow-ups? I mean, you get good reviews from people about that? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
And we try to do surveys for various programs that we have. One, we want to do the surveys to make sure that they're getting the service that they're asking for, and then also just to give us feedback. Just to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as well.
Good.
So far, I get very, very little complaints, which really speak to my coworkers.
Sure.
Because if I'm getting little complaints, then that means that the coworkers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, or at least making it satisfactory to the clients that they're serving.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's definitely the one class of you know, people that you definitely want to make sure you take care of, among others. But you know, they've done their time, you know, and you know, when things can help, they definitely should get it one way or another. So I kind of feel you and I are almost kind of cut from the same cloth in the fact that, I mean, I think I prefer almost to be in more of a service type of role than, you know, in anything else. I mean, whether it's, you know, the military or EMS, it just, I feel the sense of accomplishment knowing that I've helped someone do something without expecting anything in return from it. You know, it's just the right thing to do, you know. So, but I can see that you're probably in the same boat, probably with Sue and the rest of the people in the organization too. So that's good. We need more people like that, really. So, I guess shift gears here a little bit. So, a little bit about you. Do you have any brothers or sisters or anything? Or?
Yep. I got one sister.
Okay.
3 brothers.
Wow.
Well, really, more so like 6 brothers. There's 3 brothers that's more so on my mother's side.
Okay.
Another 3 brothers on my father's side. One brother passed away
Oh.
2015.
Sorry to hear that.
Yep, unfortunately, at the age of 33.
Mm.
Probably, one I was very close to. So
That's even
very,
tougher. Yeah.
that was very impacting.
Yeah.
To me, and definitely one that was, on that path of good.
Okay.
And then, right being on that path
Yeah.
of good, this happens.
Yeah.
It happens to him. He passes away.
Mm.
So that's been affecting, but at the same time, it's kind of motivation to
Sure.
just kind of keep pushing it
Yeah.
and moving on to make sure he's proud that he hasn't
Yeah.
let him down.
Sure. That's
So-
a good way to kind of carry on with that. Yeah. So use it to something good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And about your mom and dad. So, they've been married for a long time, or?
No, not through marriage.
Okay.
It was single parent growing up.
Okay.
Very influential for me was even great grandparents.
Okay.
They were very influential for me in terms of my foundation.
Okay.
And then even religious background
Mm-hmm.
was very influential for me in terms of I think where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
because of having that I think foundation of just good being pumped
Yeah.
into you as to how you treat people,
Sure.
how you carry yourself, how you live life, and trying to continue on that path of good. And I think that has opened up, I think, just an awareness within me of just others. And I go back to wanting to work with people, of being open to others, understanding that I have an opinion, understanding that I have a viewpoint,
Sure.
but also understanding that others are going to have theirs as well.
Right.
And even if it's an opposing viewpoint, it's just understanding that everybody needs respect.
Sure.
And I think that's the biggest, anytime I talk to anyone, I try to stress that point that, yes, I'm going to think a certain way, you're going to think a certain way,
Yeah.
but we need to respect each other.
Sure.
No matter what.
Yeah.
But I think that foundation was built upon me at the very beginning,
Okay.
understanding that.
I wish more people these days were like that. I think we've kind of gone away from that in a way. At least what I see on social media sometimes. So I definitely tend to stay away from those types of individuals and not engage with them, which works out well for me because I have more important things to deal with than try to argue some political point or whatever that we're trying to disagree with or inject or whatever. So that's good though. Where do you see yourself after not or being done with serving our seniors, like in life in general? I mean, do you like to travel and stuff like that, or?
Definitely like traveling. If that could be primary, I would do that. Now I don't like to drive though. That's one thing.
Okay.
For me, I'm not.
So you're a flyer then?
Yeah, definitely would love to fly.
Okay.
I love to fly. I'm not afraid of heights or anything in terms of flying.
So that's where you differ. You and I differ because I am afraid of heights, believe it or not. People say you're a pilot. How can you be afraid of heights? And you just have to go into the whole explanation that one, I'm strapped in. Two, it's in in an enclosed space, and three, I'm in control of what the aircraft's doing when I'm flying it. So, but I do still have a fear of heights. I mean, you'll put me up on a tall ladder, halfway up, I'm probably done. Roller coasters, I do like them. I mean, we got Cedar Point here, obviously, which is awesome, but that initial climb, and then once you finally get over the hump, everything else is fine. But just that, the fear, just that the initial climb is what usually gets me on that. So, but.
Let me rephrase.
Okay, sure.
Not afraid of heights when it comes to flying.
Okay.
But if you throw me into anything else,
Yeah,
we got some issues.
yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Yeah.
And I actually, honestly, when it comes to roller coasters, I used to love roller coasters. I would be the type. I go back to the brother that passed away. We would go to Cedar Point and we would ride the ride so much that we had to find ways to ride the ride to actually get the feeling.
Oh wow!
In the pit of your stomach.
Yeah.
So we were so used to getting in the front because we get in the front and see it in that perspective. We'll get in the back, feeling a different perspective.
Sure.
We got to the point where we were going, especially when we were working there when we were teens. We were going daily to where it was, what else can we do? Now we got to turn around so we don't see it coming.
Oh man, that's way too much for me.
Yeah, but now you look at me now.
Yeah.
43 years old.
Yeah.
feeling as if I'm not even sure I want to get on another roller coaster.
Yeah.
And some of it's though just what you see when you see issues that happen with roller coasters.
Yeah.
People that unfortunately pass away.
Yeah.
Being on a roller coaster or just when they get stuck, anything like that.
Oh, I hear you.
That gets me to the point now. I'll ride a roller coaster, and I have 2 young children. I have a 6-year-old, one that just turned 6 about a couple weeks ago, and I have one that will be turning 9. They're gonna want to ride roller coasters, and yes, I'll ride a roller coaster with them, but I'll be the one sitting there like, I cannot wait for this to be over.
I found that the last time that we haven't been to Cedar Point in a couple of years now, but last time I rode the Gatekeeper, it was fun, but like I need to sit down for like half an hour after it because there's so much force or stress on my body. I had to like sit down and calm down, and just kind of relax myself before I go on. And I'm like, wow, I'm getting really old for this, So yeah, I like roller coasters, but I can't do like back to back to back to back, if there was like no line. So I'm just learning what my body can put up with now. So
and honestly, I think it's one of those things I think that comes a little bit with age too, because I think when you're younger, you just have that mindset of, you can't even fathom something going wrong. Or, you get that invincibility.
Oh yeah, invincibility for sure.
And then I think as you age, you start thinking more.
Oh, you hope you do anyway. Yeah. Any hobbies of yours that you want to talk about? Like, what do you? I mean, like reading books, listening to music. What do you like to kind of do when you're not at work?
Kind of in downtime. There are some things that I kind of work on and do because there's some side hobbies I do with my wife as well.
Okay.
We get into a little bit of kind of decorating a little bit, helping out
when
it comes to people having events.
Okay.
So we'll do that a little bit. And I'll help out with taking pictures, doing photography for it. So I do enjoy doing that, just kind of an unofficial basis.
Okay.
I enjoy music.
Okay.
I kind of play around a little bit with a DJ board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, DJ
nice.
controller.
Okay.
So, but those are things that kind of help me kind of take my mind off of work and those responsibilities in life.
Yeah.
So that's just a more enjoyable thing.
Yeah.
And I think you need those.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not able to engage in anything that can take your mind away, then that's when I think you start getting stressed.
Absolutely. Yeah, we always something. I know personally, I go work out like 3 times a week in the morning. So between my 8 and 10:30 somewhere there is kind of that my release time just to exercise, get the endorphins going, and just be in my own zone for a little bit and not worry about life in general if I can help it. So and it does good for me. It's been doing fine. So I do enjoy that, and it's been nice that this job offers me that flexibility to do that. So. Just a couple more questions. I know the sun's kind of starting to get in your eyes and stuff. I was trying to avoid that, but I guess so. We've covered most of that. How do you want to be remembered in life once you're gone?
I think that's a real good question.
Everyone says that,
and it makes you reflect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think people are used to reflecting on themselves, at least in that manner. I think people are used to speaking about what they do, but how do you want to be remembered?
Yeah.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is I'd like to be remembered as a person that is honest, and a person that's fair.
Sure.
And a person that is not judgmental on others and tries to be able to just assist in any manner that I can. And I think that's where I feel comfortable in what I do. Because that's where I think kind of goes back to what you said earlier. If more people were that way, honest, fair, non-judgmental, then I think that we would go far.
Absolutely.
As a community.
Absolutely. As a country, really. I mean, I won't go too much more into that, but I totally agree with that. Yeah, this less judgmental and just be respectful of other people's opinions and just do the right thing. So absolutely. So how can people get a hold or find out more about your organization, Serving Our Seniors? There's a website, I'm assuming, so it's like servingourseniors.com or
.org.
.org,
Yep.
okay,
www.servingourseniors, all spelled out,
okay,
.org.
okay,
And then our phone number, our main contact phone number is 419-624-1856.
okay,
So that's the main ways that we do have a Facebook page too.
okay,
And I know we had talked earlier that I'm not really on Facebook. So,
that's fine,
but I believe it's just looking up Serving Our Seniors on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And that's really helpful because the office manager is the one that does a lot of our content on there.
Mhm.
So if there's anything that can really be helpful to a senior, it would be also on that
Okay.
Facebook page.
good, great. Well, I don't have much else for you. I think you pretty much spelled it out. So obviously, you know, if you have a relative that's in the senior status, senior stage, you know, look into servingourSeniors.org. Look to the company to kind of help out with any kind of needs that they may have. They're there to help. So by all means, you know, reach out to that. So Anthony, thank you so much for coming by. I do appreciate meeting you. It's been great talking to you.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for sharing that information. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. If you want to be part of this interview series, you can go to parkbench.com/Sandusky. Either through the website, you can request to be part of the interview, or contact me directly at stephen.ham@remax.net, and we can arrange a date and time that works well for you, and we can get you on here as well. Interviews are free. And what I ask is, in return, is that if you know of anyone that's in the market to buy or sell in real estate, hopefully you can maybe refer them my way. I can also answer any real estate questions you have. If I know the answer, I can definitely get you the answer from the agents that work here that have been here for 20 years plus and have a wealth of knowledge and advice. So help either way. So, but other than that, that's how you can get a hold of us. So take care and keep a positive mindset. Keep chasing your goals and your dreams. Never give up, and just do, as we said here, do the right thing. You know, be that good citizen out there and help others out. So until next time, take care and we'll see you.
Well said, Steve.